The most difficult case of human rights abuse that you ever faced, that you felt was the most difficult to solve?
I think all the cases are very difficult in a sense that we have such a strong culture of impunity. We have documented hundreds of cases of extrajudicial executions, forced disappearances, rape of women, but not even a single perpetrator has been brought to justice. Not only us, we have UN Office of the High Commissioner here in Nepal. They have been also documenting similar number of cases of extrajudicial killings, disappearances. Not even a single perpetrator has been brought to justice. So it's very difficult because there is no accountability, there is zero accountability, and such a strong culture of impunity. When you ask personally, when I was involved in documenting, investigating some cases of rape that happened in army detention centers, we knew because victims had told how they were raped. We saw, we were told about their physical, psychological status as well. You know, when they were arrested, they were raped repeatedly in detention. And then when one of the girls was severely sort of injured, got sick, then they were thrown into a sort of street where they were, picked up. And then one of the girls had very severe psychological problems. So then the family members were asking for the help. Of course, they were not in a situation to really raise this case up because of the threat that they had, because they were threatened not to tell this story to anyone, because that's what it used to happen. And when we documented this case, when we investigated that case, family members also wanted us to raise this case up so perpetrators get punished and they get justice. So when we raised this case, the family members were put under pressure. So they were forced to retract the information in front of TV crew, which was broadcasted in Nepal TV again and again. So when you see victims being forced to retract their information, time and again, being threatened for their lives. Not only one member, the whole family members get threatened. They have to be displaced simply because they want justice. That's really difficult. This is what it's happening.
A peace agreement has recently been signed between the rebels and the government, and they have agreed now to take part in the political process. Are you optimistic about this?
Yes, we are cautiously optimistic. We had hoped that things would be progressed a bit smoothly than happening now, especially on the question of justice, on the question of human rights issue, rule of law issue. We haven't seen that much of progress. For example, the Comprehensive Peace Agreement talks about setting up the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, among other. We really want to address the issue of justice, the victims who have been really waiting for so long in the hope that the recent change, the democratic space would provide them justice, and then there will be thorough investigations what happened in the past, and that would really create a sort of condition for the reconciliations. But there is a sort of tendency of the government, all the political parties, because they are the part of the conflict, and somehow they are linked with that, and they really don't want to raise the issue of impunity. They don't really want to raise this issue of justice. What they have been trying is to force people to forget what happened in the past in the name of peace, and then really forgetting the pain of the victims. So very recently there was this decision of the Supreme Court. It took us like 7 years to get to that decision because there is no remedy for the victims of disappearances. And I don't know whether you know, because Nepal was top listed as a country which practices systematic disappearance in the year 2003, 2004 in Nepal. So despite all these sort of problems, there is no remedies for the victims of disappearances. So we had brought a number of complaints in the Supreme Court. So very recently the Supreme Court said that there is a need for having legislation, comprehensive legislation, to outlaw, to criminalize the disappearances. And they also instruct, the Supreme Court also instructs that there is a need for having comprehensive commission to do investigation on the cases of disappearances. And the Supreme Court has asked you have to bring the new legislation to set up this commission. But what government did immediately after the decision of the Supreme Court is to form a sort of commission without really observing the decision of the Supreme Court. And there are a number of incidences like this. So there is no respect for rule of law. They don't really care the decision of the Supreme Court. You can imagine this is the supreme body that, so that really scares us. And when they really attempt to really force people to forget what happened in the past and the way that things have developed, they don't consult with the victims groups, they don't consult with the civil society, and they just take the decision to form a sort of commission today, and they don't even publish the report of the commissions, So that really puts a very gloomy picture of Nepal. That really shows our future is not secure unless we readily address the issue of justice, unless we really count the death of those thousands of people and really make the thorough investigations of those who are disappeared. It will be very difficult to really foresee new Nepal or the democratic Nepal.
But changes are taking place. You're going to have a referendum. Don't you think that the country is going in the right direction?
In some aspects, yes, there are reasons to be hopeful. For example, we are going, first time in the history of Nepal, we are going to have the election of Constituent Assembly. People are going to draft their constitution. But we still have fear because, those who were involved in human rights violations in the past, if they are not vetted now, will be the same people going through the elections in drafting constitutions, again in the power. We don't want to see that one because we want some kind of process now that really prevents those perpetrators being part of drafting constitutions or being in power in the future. So that really assures us that history will not be repeated, because there is no reasons not to believe history will be repeated, because we have seen in 1990s movement. There was a movement in 1990. We fought for democracy. People paid highest price for having multi-party democracy in Nepal. And what happened immediately after that was that there was a huge outcry for having investigation on cases of human rights violation that happened during movement. And there was a commission, but then government decided not to take any actions against those people who were involved in that violations. So what happened later on was that very same people were brought in 2005, 2006 to suppress the people and really kill the people. So we have seen, the effect of not making people accountable for the things that they do. So that's the reason why it's very important for us to really bring those perpetrators to justice, really have some kind of accountability, so the history will not be repeated in the future.